But her meddlesome nature wasn't limited to resolving disputes. She also had a habit of giving unsolicited advice, much to the irritating of her neighbors. She would tell young mothers how to raise their children, instruct men on how to repair their roofs, and lecture women on how to keep their homes clean. Her intentions were good, but her delivery was often too blunt, and her words often sting. One day, a new family, Ojo family, moved to the vacant flat in their compound. The Ojo family was small, just a husband and wife, and their young son. They were quite polite and kept to themselves, which was something Mama was found strange. She decided to welcome them to the neighborhood in her own special way. Early one morning, she prepared a large pot of jollof rice and packed it into a basket. She marched over to the Ojo's flat and knocked loudly on the door. Mrs. Ojo, a shy woman with kind eyes, opened the door and smiled politely at Mama Akpors. "Good morning, Mama Akpors," she said, recognizing the woman from the story she has heard from the other neighbors. "Good morning, my dear. I thought I should bring you something to welcome you to the neighborhood," Mama Nkechi announced, pushing the basket into Mrs. Ojo's hand before she could protest. Mrs. Ojo thanked her, but before she could close the door, Mama Boss pushed her way inside. "Abeg, let me check your kitchen. I sabi say you go need small advice on how to arrange am better." Mama Boss entered the kitchen like a commandant. She began shifting pots, rearranging spices, and even lectured Miss Ojo on why a frying pan is not supposed to be near the kerosene stove. "See, my dear, if you no follow my advice, na wahala you dey invite for yourself," Mama Akpos said, shaking her head. By the time she finished her lecture, Miss Ojo was just nodding her head like a lizard, with her face full of exhaustion. When Mama Akpos was finally leaving, she turned to Miss Ojo and said, "You are welcome, don't mention," like she had just saved the Ojo's family from eternal doom. And so it went day after day. Mama Akpos found herself at the center of every disagreement and every misunderstanding in the street. The next thing she did was throw the whole compound off balance and got the landlord involved. On Thursday, Mama Akpos woke up and claimed that the Holy Spirit instructed her to repaint the house. Without consulting a landlord, she paid a painter and had the wall of the building repainted. The color she chose, a blinding neon green that made the entire structure like a giant highlighter. "This one our latest fashion for America," she declared proudly when the landlord came around to inspect the damage. "I dey give this compound facelift." The landlord, a usually calm man, looked like he was about to have a stroke. "Madam," he said, his voice strained, "next time you want to give my property a facelift, please ask me first." Mama was just waved him off. "You go thank me later. This color they drive away evil spirits and mosquitoes." The landlord wanted to get her arrested. She quickly called her brother, who lived abroad, and he spoke with the landlord. He sent some money for damages. Effie, watching from the corner of the compound, couldn't help but chuckle. The color was indeed so bright that it might just scare away every living creature. The landlord repainted the house 2 weeks later. One would think that her encounter with the landlord would make her calm down a bit, but she got worse instead. The week after, Mama Akpos, in her infinite wisdom, decided she was going to start a chicken farm in her tiny backyard. The whole compound woke up to the sound of chuckling and squawking. Mama Akpos had brought 1 dozen of chickens the night before. Efe rushed outside, still in his pajamas, to find Mama Akpos chasing the chicken around the compound. "Madam, wetin dey happen?" Efe asked her. Mama was paused in her chicken chase, panting heavily. "I wan start business. I don tire to stay idle," she explained, as if it was the most normal thing in the world. Fresh eggs and chicken straight from backyard to mouth. Efe looked around at the feathers flying everywhere, chickens running round. His fellow tenants were peering out of their windows in amusement. He couldn't help but laugh. This woman was truly something else. "Madam," he said, trying to keep a straight face, "I no think say this compound na proper place for this chicken farm." Mama boss considered this for a moment, then struggled. Maybe you get point, but wetin I go do with this chicken now? And that was how the entire couple ended up having an impromptu barbecue that evening, causing your mama boss failed business venture. As the weeks went by, Mama Boss aunties became the talk of the neighborhood. On Saturday, Mama Boss decided to become a prophetess. She had been watching a lot of televangelists, and she had come to the conclusion that she too has been blessed with the gift of prophecy. One sunny Saturday afternoon, she emerged from her room dressed in a flowing white gown, her head decorated with a headdress made of palm leaves. In her hand, she held a worn out broomstick that she had painted gold. My people, she announced to the bewildered tenant who had gathered to watch the display. I don't get vision. Dem spirit don visit me. Efe, who had been enjoying a quiet afternoon for once, poked his head out of his window. Wetin happen again, madam? Mama boss fixed him with a stern gaze. No call me madam again. From today, na prophetess I be. The compound erupted in laughter, but Mama was sorry. Oh. Prophetess was discouraged. She raised her golden broomstick high in the air and began to prophesy. I see, I see. She closed her eyes dramatically, swaying back and forth. I see, say one person for this compound go win big money. This caught everybody's attention. In Warri, where everyone was always on the hustle, the promise of big money was enough to make even the most skeptical person listen. Now who? Madam Prophetess, someone called out. Mama Boss opened her eyes and pointed her broomstick at random. It landed on Efe. You, she declared, you go win big money, but first, you must do three things. One, you must dance shaki for 1 hour straight. Two, you must wear your clothes inside out for 1 week. And three, you must give to the church 1,000 naira every day for 1 month. If he couldn't believe his eyes, this woman was truly unbelievable. But before he could say anything, his neighbors were already congratulating him and offering to teach him how to dance Shaki better. For the next week, the compound was treading to the sight of her face clothes inside her, attempting to perfect his Shaki dance. Mama Boss, ever the helpful neighbor, took it upon herself to be his personal dance instructor. No, 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 she would shout, demonstrating the move herself. You must shake your waist like saying an earthquake they happen. The sight of Mama was still in her prophetess outfit doing the Shaki dance was enough to send the entire compound into fits of laughter. Somehow, despite her troublesome nature, Efe loved Mama Boss. She is not a pretender, he would often say. As the daily church offering, he managed to negotiate it down to a plate of jollof rice every Sunday. Surprisingly, a month after Mama Akpors' prophecy, Efe did win some money. He found a forgotten betting slip in his pocket and discovered he has won a small sum. It wasn't the big money Mama Akpors had prophesied, but it was enough to buy drinks for the entire compound. From that day on, Mama Akpors' reputation as a prophetess grew. Efe looked at her in admiration one evening. God dey great oh, he murmured. As time went on, Effie and the other tenants found themselves growing fond of the troublesome neighbor rather than getting angry. Sure, she was loud, unpredictable, and had a talent in creating trouble, but also brought laughter and excitement to their lives. Mama Akbar's way of life became a source of endless entertainment. There was never a dull moment with her around. She always kept everyone on their toes. One day, as if he was returning from work, he found Mama Akbar sitting on the stairs in front of her door, looking unusually happy. Wetin happen, madam? He said, genuinely concerned. It was strange to see her without her usual energy. Mama Boss looked up at him with tears swelling up in her eyes. My friend for village dey sick seriously, Mama said. I need money to send but all my business ideas never work. In that moment, Efe saw beyond the loud, troublesome neighbor. He saw a woman who, despite her strange ways, had a good heart and was just trying to make her way in the world just like everyone else. Without hesitation, Efe reached out into his pocket and pulled out the money he had won from the betting slip. Take this, he said, pressing the money into her hand. Send them to your friend. Mama Boss looked at the money, then at Efe. Her eyes widened with surprise. Then, in true Mama Boss fashion, she let out a scream, so loud it startled a flock of birds from a nearby tree. I talk am, she shouted, jumping into her feet. I be real prophetess. I say you go win big money and see, you win am and now you give am to me. Na double prophecy fulfillment. Efe couldn't help but laugh. Trust Mama was to turn even this moment into another episode of her ongoing comedy show. From that day on, a strange sort of friendship formed between Efe and Mama Boss. She was still as loud and unpredictable as ever, but now Efe found himself looking forward to his latest schemes and adventure. Despite her meddlesome ways, Mama Boss had a heart of gold. When Miss Ojo fell ill, it was Mama Boss who came to her aid, bringing her homemade remedies and taking care of the household until she recovered. Over the time, the Ojo's family, like everyone else in Warri, came to accept Mama Boss for who she was. Troublesome, yes, but also caring and fearlessly loyal. They learned to appreciate her for her good qualities and to tolerate her meddling nature, understanding that it came from a place of love. One day, after years of being the town's unofficial mediator and advisor, Mama Boss' health began to decline. She could no longer move with the same energy and her voice grew weaker. The town felt her absence deeply. This was that she would quickly resolve now delayed, and the street, once filled with the sound of her voice, seemed quieter and emptier. Her condition grew worse, and her daughter akpors came from Lagos to take her away. After 2 months, she returned again with a truck to pack her mother's belongings. Efe asked how Mama was health and she informed him that her mother was flown to Germany for treatment and won't be returning to Nigeria. Efe collected her number and promised to call her to check on her. The neighbors who had one rolled their eyes at Mama was meddling business began to miss her presence. They realized that Mama was, with all her faults, has been the glue that held the community together. Without her, the town felt a little less vibrant, a little less alive. After 3 months, after her boss packed her mother's belongings, Efe called her and asked after her mother. She had recovered and is doing fine now, she replied. When next you speak with her, tell her Efe misses her so much. Efe told her with so much sincerity before he ended the call. It's been years since Mama was left worry, yet the people had never stopped talking about her. She really made her presence known within the short time she lived with them. I hope you did enjoy this story because we have come to the end of this story. Amazing, amazing story.